She tapped the key. The first slide filled the screen, numbers, raw and undeniable. Someone smirked, someone whispered, but one of them leaned forward, narrowing his eyes. She switched to the second, results, lean but real. Another chair creaked, a hand stilled mid-note. The third slide came without pause, the ask, bold and tight. In less than a minute she had revealed it all, and now the silence felt heavier than before. Ambitious, one muttered, his tone sharp as a blade. Impossible, another added, leaning back with folded arms. She didn't flinch. You call it impossible, she said, steady and low, but I've already survived worse. What you see here, this is only the beginning. The phone buzzed again. The word clinic glowed bright. This time more people noticed. A few exchanged glances, whispering. Was she hiding something? Was she standing here while something outside these walls was slipping away? She ignored it, forcing her voice to cut through their doubts. I didn't come here for sympathy, she said. I came because this deserves to exist. And it will, with or without your help. For the first time, the smirks faded. One investor tapped his pen, no longer mocking but calculating. Another's expression softened, almost uneasy. She could feel the tide shifting, skepticism colliding with curiosity. But beneath it all, the weight pressed harder. Every second here meant another second stolen from whatever waited at the other end of that phone. She pushed the thought down. Right now, this was the fight she could not afford to lose. Her hand hovered above the laptop. The room was silent, everyone waiting, for her next word, for the truth behind the glow of her phone, for the choice that could make her or break her. She drew in one more breath and looked them straight in the eyes. This is your moment, she said quietly. Don't waste it. The elder leaned back, folding his arms. 3 slides. Bold claims. No proof you can scale. She met his eyes. Proof is contracts already signed. 2 pilots live. 3 more waiting. Momentum doesn't ask your permission. The man with the notepad shifted. Numbers are lean, he said, but they're real. A brief silence. The woman by the screen broke it. We'll discuss. Neutral, clipped. Not rejection. Not acceptance. The meeting was over. She stepped into the hallway, pulled out her phone, clinic, 3 missed calls. Her thumb hovered. She locked the screen. Not here. Not now. The elevator doors closed. A text arrived before she reached the lobby, answer or regret it. Same sender, clinic. She gritted her teeth. Another buzz, different number. Unknown. She answered. Silence. Then, we know what you pitched. Meet me tonight. Don't bring anyone. Click. She froze, still holding the phone. No time to think, her bag slipped, papers scattered across the lobby floor. A man in a gray suit helped her pick them up, glanced at the page on top, and smirked. Interesting numbers. He handed it back, eyes lingering longer than casual. She didn't thank him, just shoved the papers inside and walked fast toward the exit. Outside, horns blared. She checked her watch. Noon. In 3 hours she had another meeting, different investors, different city, train already booked. She sprinted across the street, nearly colliding with a cyclist. Her phone buzzed again. This time a message, clinic, don't ignore this. Critical. Her chest tightened. She typed half a reply, stopped, deleted it, stuffed the phone back. A call from her assistant came next. They moved the meeting up. You need to be at Union Station in 40 minutes. And, the voice lowered, someone's been asking about you. Not press. Different. She didn't answer. She was already running. Union Station was chaos, screens flashing delays, crowds pushing in every direction. She ran down the concourse, bag slamming against her side, her ticket pulled up on her phone. The text still glowed at the top of the screen, clinic, critical. She swiped it away and forced herself forward. At the gate, a man blocked her path. Not security. Dark coat, clean cut, too casual to be casual. You dropped this, he said, holding up a sheet of paper. It was hers, one of the pitch summaries. She hadn't even noticed it missing. She snatched it back. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Good luck in Chicago. He turned before she could respond, vanishing into the crowd. Her stomach tightened. She hadn't told anyone about Chicago. The train boarded. She slid into a seat, heart pounding, scanning the window for the coat. Nothing. She opened her laptop, but her hands shook too much to type. Another buzz, clinic. She almost answered. Almost. Instead she stared at the message, your delay could cost more than you think. Delay of what? Of who? The train lurched forward. Across the aisle, a teenager watched her. Not casually, studying. When their eyes met, he looked down too quickly. She turned away, pressed her forehead to the glass. City lights blurred into streaks. She couldn't tell if paranoia was winning or if someone really was following her. Her phone rang again, different number. She answered this time. We said tonight, the same male voice said. But you don't seem to understand urgency. The line cut. No explanation. No instructions. Just pressure. She closed her eyes, pulse racing. The investors in Chicago were waiting. The clinic was calling non-stop. Strangers suddenly knew her schedule. And now an anonymous voice was dictating meetings she hadn't agreed to. Every thread pulled her in a different direction, yet every thread was tied to the same thing, her idea. She tightened her grip on the folder. This was no longer just about convincing investors. Someone else wanted what she had, or wanted to stop it. The train sped into the night, and for the first time she realized the danger wasn't only losing funding. It was losing everything. The train screeched into Chicago after midnight. She barely noticed the cold air when she stepped onto the platform, her phone was already buzzing again. Clinic, final warning. You can't avoid this. Final warning. Her chest tightened. She typed a reply, then erased it. Not yet. By morning, she was seated in another boardroom, different city, different faces, but the same skepticism hanging in the air. The lead investor flipped through her summary with deliberate slowness. We've seen models like this collapse before, he said flatly. What makes you different? Her throat dried, but before she could answer, the phone vibrated on the table. She tried to silence it, but one word flashed before every eye, clinic. The room stilled. That again, one of them asked. Seems distracting. Her grip tightened around the phone. This has nothing to do with my work, she said. The lie burned. The investors exchanged looks, she couldn't tell if it was doubt or pity. She pushed on, sharper now, voice cutting like glass. Difference? I've built this under pressure you can't imagine. I didn't come here to ask for comfort, I came to show you what happens when survival becomes execution. Her words landed heavier than she expected. And then, her phone lit again, but this time a message preview slipped through before she killed the screen, patient condition worsening. Immediate response required. Her blood ran cold. One investor caught it, brow furrowing. Patient, he echoed. The word spread like a spark across the table. Questions hung in the silence, sharper than any financial critique. Who was the patient? Why was she here instead of there? She stuffed the phone back into her bag, forcing her tone steady. Focus on the numbers, she said. That's what you're here for. But she felt it, the balance shifting again. Not only because of the clinic. Something else. As she spoke, she noticed a man in the corner, not part of the panel, not taking notes. He wasn't looking at her slides. He was watching her phone. Her pulse raced. She finished the last line of her pitch, but her mind wasn't in the room anymore. The investors debated, voices blending into noise. She felt the weight of the call she hadn't made, the word patient echoing in her skull. For a heartbeat, she thought about walking out, calling back, demanding the truth. But then she saw the man in the corner stand, slip through the side door, and disappear. And she knew, the answers were close. Too close. But not here. Not yet. She left the building before the investors finished talking. Cold air hit her lungs like a punch. The sidewalk blurred with traffic, voices, phones ringing. She pushed through the crowd, each step faster than the last. Her phone buzzed, again. This time not the clinic. The unknown number. You ignored us. Last chance. Tonight. Same city. 9 p.m. Come alone. Her pulse hammered. She typed back, "Who are you?" No reply. She ducked into a cafe, hands trembling as she spread her notes across the table. Numbers, graphs, contracts, it all looked meaningless next to that single word still stuck in her head, patient. She had no time to breathe, no space to think. The next meeting was in 2 hours. And she wasn't sure she'd even make it there. The door opened. A man in a gray coat entered, the same one from Union Station. Her chest tightened. He ordered coffee, but his eyes never left her table. She closed her laptop slowly, shoved the papers into her bag. When she stood, he smiled faintly and raised his cup in mock salute. Outside, rain started. She ran across the street, nearly slipping, hearing footsteps behind her. Fast, steady. She turned a corner, empty alley. No coat, no man. Just her ragged breath and the buzz of her phone, clinic, condition critical. Her knees almost gave out. She leaned against the wall, gasping. She wanted to call. She wanted to know. But she couldn't, not here, not with eyes on her, not with investors still waiting. Every choice cut the other in half. Her assistant's call broke the spiral. They want you in the room now. They've moved it forward. If you're late, it's over. I'll be there, she said, though her voice cracked. She hung up, wiped the rain from her face, and forced herself forward. In the cab, headlights carved through the downpour. Her phone lit again. Not clinic. A photo. Sent from the unknown number. Blurry, grainy, but it was her. Sitting in the cafe minutes earlier. The message, "We're watching." She dropped the phone onto the seat, chest tight, vision swimming. Investors on one side. Clinic on the other. Strangers closing in from shadows. And all she could think was, which one will break me first? The meeting with the investors ended in noise, voices arguing, papers shuffled, no clear yes or no. She didn't wait for a verdict. She left the room with her phone already in her hand. 8:42 p.m. 17 minutes until the address in the text. Rain-slicked streets glowed under neon as she stepped from the cab. The city moved fast, but her pulse was faster. She replayed the message, "Last chance. 9 p.m. Come alone." Her palms were damp. If this was a trap, she was walking straight into it. If it wasn't, it might be the only lead she had. She turned the corner and froze. The location wasn't an office, not a hotel, not even a cafe. It was an abandoned warehouse, windows boarded, one light flickering by the side door. A shiver ran down her spine. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number, inside. She hesitated, staring at the dark building. Another buzz, clinic, condition worsening. Call now. Her throat tightened. Two voices, two demands, one pulling her toward the door, the other dragging her back. She pushed the phone into her pocket and stepped inside. The air was cold, thick with dust. Her footsteps echoed. At the far end of the room, a single chair sat under a hanging bulb. Empty. Close the door, a male voice called. Calm, controlled. She spun, searching shadows. Where are you? Silence. Then, you're not as invisible as you think. Her breath caught. What do you want? A pause. Then footsteps circled, unseen. Not want. Need. What you carry, those 3 slides, it's bigger than you know. Others already want it gone. We want it alive. Her chest pounded. Who are you? Silence again. Then a card slid across the floor toward her. Plain white, only a symbol printed on it. A circle split by a single line. Nothing else. She bent to pick it up, and when she looked up, the room was empty. Her phone buzzed immediately. A message from the unknown number, time is running out. Choose fast. And then, almost instantly, another from the clinic, if you don't act now, you will lose them. She stood frozen in the dark, clutching the card, her chest heaving. For the first time, she realized both paths were closing at once, and whichever she chose, the other might vanish forever. By dawn she hadn't slept. The card with the strange symbol lay on the motel desk, next to her buzzing phone. Another message, clinic, condition unstable. Critical window closing. She stared at the words until they blurred. She wanted to call. She couldn't. Not yet. She pulled herself together, threw on her jacket, and rushed to her next meeting, different firm, different city block. She pushed through the lobby, tried to steady her breath, but when she stepped into the room, she froze. The man in the gray coat was already there, seated casually among the investors. Her pulse spiked. He said nothing, just smirked faintly when their eyes met. The pitch started anyway, but her voice shook. Slides blurred, words slipped. One investor coughed pointedly, another checked his watch. She stumbled, and for the first time she felt the ground giving way. Then, an interruption. A younger investor raised his hand. Wait. Run that second slide again. She clicked back, fumbling. He leaned in, studying it. If this number holds, you've done in 6 months what others couldn't in 3 years. The room shifted. Phones were set down. Pens stilled. Her breath caught, and she seized it. She spoke faster now, sharper, pulling strength from the spark he'd given her. For a moment, she had them. For a moment, the wall of doubt cracked wide enough to see light. But then the gray coat leaned forward. Numbers are nice, he said calmly. But ask her about the clinic. Ask what she's hiding. The room snapped back to ice. Every eye turned. She gripped the edge of the table, nails digging into wood. That's not relevant, she said, forcing steel into her tone. What matters is the business in front of you. It barely held. The meeting ended in murmurs, no decision, no promise. Outside, she stumbled onto the sidewalk, rain soaking her hair, tears burning her throat. She had almost won, and then lost it in a single sentence. But her phone buzzed again. A new message, not from the clinic, not from the unknown number. A single line, unsigned, he's lying. Don't trust the coat. She froze, heart hammering. Another voice in the storm. Another shadow in the dark. And she realized, the game was wider than she thought. The message burned on her screen, he's lying. Don't trust the coat. She read it 3 times, her heart pounding. Another enemy? Or an ally she couldn't see? Before she could decide, her phone rang again. Clinic. She almost ignored it, almost. But this time, she answered. Where are you? The voice was urgent, clipped. You've missed every call. The patient's condition is deteriorating. We can't hold this forever. Her throat went dry. Who are you talking about? Silence. Then, you know exactly who. And the line went dead. Her knees buckled against the wall of the building. She wanted to scream. Every word only multiplied the questions. Who was fighting for life in that clinic? Why was she still here, pitching strangers, when every instinct told her to run? The gray coat appeared again at the end of the street. Watching. Not moving. She shoved the phone into her pocket and forced herself forward, weaving through the crowd until she lost him, or thought she did. At the next corner, her assistant intercepted her, soaked from the rain. They called back, she said breathlessly. The Chicago panel. They're split, but one of them is ready to back you if you can prove liquidity by Friday. Friday. 3 days. A lifeline dangled in front of her, just out of reach. Her phone buzzed again. A text from clinic, Friday will be too late. She staggered back, shaking her head. 2 clocks ticking at once, her company and the patient. If she chose one, she might lose the other. Then, another ping. Same unknown ally as before, don't let them push you. The clinic isn't what it says it is. Her breath froze. Not what it says. She pulled the card with the strange symbol from her pocket, staring at the split circle. Suddenly, she wondered if the clinic and the symbol were tied together, or enemies locked in the same fight. But the only thing she knew for sure, someone was dying. Someone close enough that her name was on every urgent call. And the closer she got to answers, the further they slipped away. She gripped the card until her fingers hurt. 3 days to prove her business. 3 hours, maybe less, to decide if she'd answer the clinic again. And somewhere behind her, the gray coat was still following. The rain hadn't stopped. She paced her small hotel room, phone buzzing every few minutes. Investors, the clinic, the unknown ally. 3 voices pulling her in opposite directions, none giving answers. The card with the symbol lay on the table, its split circle catching the glow of the lamp. She wanted to throw it away, but couldn't. Her laptop pinged. An email from the clinic, subject line, consent required. No body text, just an attached document. She opened it with trembling hands. Medical authorization. Her name already typed in the signature line. Patient, name redacted. Her breath caught. Someone had prepared this for her, someone expected her to sign without question. She slammed the laptop shut, heart racing. The knock at the door nearly made her jump. She opened it to find her assistant, dripping wet. They want proof tomorrow, she said quickly. If you can't show capital, the deal dies. Her eyes flicked to the table, to the card, then back. Who sent you that? Before she could answer, her phone lit up again, unknown number. The ally. She answered. The voice was low, urgent. Don't sign anything. The clinic doesn't save. It trades. Static crackled. Then silence. She sank onto the bed, head spinning. Save. Trade. Which was true? Which was manipulation? Her assistant's phone rang. She stepped outside to answer, leaving the door ajar. A shadow moved in the hall. For a split second she saw him, the gray coat, closer than ever. By the time she rushed out, the hallway was empty. Only the echo of footsteps fading down the stairs. Back inside, her phone buzzed once more. Clinic, critical intervention needed. Midnight. Decide. Her chest tightened. Midnight. Hours away. The same time she was supposed to finalize terms with the one investor willing to back her. 2 deadlines, 1 choice. She gripped the folder against her chest, staring at the door as if the gray coat might walk back in at any second. Every decision now felt like a trap. Save the patient, save the company, or save herself. None could be done without losing the others. Outside, thunder cracked, shaking the windows. Inside, her phone buzzed again. This time a single text, unsigned, "Midnight changes everything." Midnight came with thunder. She stood at the crossroads, one folder in her hand, one phone buzzing in the other. Clinic, final window. Sign now. At the same time, her assistant's voice in her ear, "The investor is ready. He wants you on the call. This is it. 2 lifelines. 2 traps." She opened the laptop. The consent form blinked, the patient line still redacted. With shaking hands she forced it wider, past hidden metadata. And then it hit her. The patient wasn't a stranger. It was her brother. The one she hadn't spoken to in years. The one she thought was lost. Her chest collapsed. The clinic hadn't told her because they never cared who they saved, they only cared what they gained. Sign, and they'd take her idea as collateral. Refuse, and they'd let him die. Her phone rang again, the unknown number. The ally. She answered. "You see it now," the voice said. "The clinic doesn't save. It trades. They want your work. They'll bury you with it." She felt the gray coat before she saw him, standing in the doorway. Calm, certain. "You don't have the luxury of time," he said. "Choose." Her knees shook. For a moment, she was back in the car, the laptop on her knees, freezing in the dark. No investors. No contracts. Just survival. But survival had taught her one thing: no one would hand her power. She had to take it. She looked up, voice steady now. "I choose both." Before either man could react, she pulled the folder from her bag and tossed it onto the table. Contracts, numbers, proof, everything the investor needed. At the same time, she dialed the hospital directly, bypassing the clinic, demanding the attending doctor. "My name is on that file," she said. "You don't move until I'm there. And I will be there." The gray coat stiffened. The ally's voice broke into the line, sharp with urgency, "You just made enemies on both sides." She exhaled. "Then let them come." By dawn, the investor called back. "We're in. Funding approved." Her hands trembled as she hung up. Minutes later, the hospital confirmed, her brother stabilized. Not because she signed, but because she refused. She collapsed into the chair, soaked in exhaustion and relief. Every wall that had closed around her, she had broken. Not cleanly, not without scars, but enough to stand. She picked up the card with the symbol, staring at it one last time. A circle split by a line. For the first time, she understood, it wasn't a warning. It was a reminder. Divide or break. She had chosen neither. She had chosen to build. And as the sun broke through the storm outside, she whispered to herself, voice fierce and certain. "This is only the beginning."